Ladies and gentlemen, good day to all of you. Here are the top stories in international news. French President Emmanuel Macron has just orchestrated a new, very large conspiracy against the Africa of Sovereignties. Yes, he revealed his conspiratorial intentions during the famous summit, the Blue Summit in Nice, the Ocean Summit in Nice, which took place on June 9, 2025. I believe I'm not mistaken about the date. Emmanuel Macron has prepared a new plot, and this one is very big. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive deeper to detail this new plot, I would like, hand on heart, to ask you to share this video conference and, above all, to watch it until the end. Share it, send it to all our friends in Africa. Since we've put pressure on France, this is a new strategy he's adopting. And those heads of state, you see they are complicit with him. Share as much as possible. It helps awaken people's awareness. We're going to say no. We don't want anything more from France. Let's dive deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this page, Le Samouraï Théa. Yes, let's go deeper. At this Ocean Summit in Nice, it's a summit focused on ocean management. These people have already consumed all the fishery resources in their own countries, that is, the resources found in the sea. We have seen how Gabon is standing up to the European Union regarding the EU's intentions to continue plundering the economic resources of Gabon's exclusive economic zone. Now, it's France that is turning against Africa. But with what strategy? What is the plot? First, Macron presented his vision. According to him, he wants to give Africa its own sovereignty. He wants Africa to have economic sovereignty. That's Macron talking like that. Since when has this man wanted Africa to have its own economic sovereignty? While France is losing its own economic sovereignty, France is at risk of coming under supervision. In other words, this man doesn't realize that we are speaking to the African youth who are now awake. That's why I always tell you to follow all the video conferences. I'm coming down. Calm yourselves. Let's go deeper. Afterwards, we'll come back. I'll break it down for you one by one. First, let's present what he's saying, what he wants to do. So, what is he actually saying? What is Emmanuel Macron's overall vision and commitment for Africa's revival? He says he wants to revive Africa. He says that his priority is African economic sovereignty. His priority is African economic sovereignty. We don't respond to him over there at first. So during the Ocean Summit in Nice, Emmanuel Macron reiterated France's commitment to supporting Africa's economic recovery. Beyond simple aid, so from now on, it will no longer be just simple aid. The focus is on promoting the continent's economic sovereignty. Emmanuel Macron wants to promote the economic sovereignty of our continent. Yes, share this video conference. Yes. He continues. He says that this involves giving African countries the means to control their own development. Emmanuel Macron wants to give us the means to control our own development, to add value to our resources, This is exactly what Ibrahimtraoré is doing today in Burkina Faso, and it bothers them. He says he wants to give us this opportunity. Allow me to sometimes explain things in simple terms for our friends who haven't had much formal education. He wants to give us the means to strengthen our production and processing capacities locally. Emmanuel Macron now knows he wants to give us Africans the means to produce and process our products, our resources, right here at home. Imagine, in Niger, how many years France has spent exploiting Niger's uranium and sending it not only to France, sends it to France as if that weren't enough. Emmanuel Macron, we see this happening all over Europe. He comes and takes it. Isn't that the reason why the general who came removed the uranium exploitation contract from the French company Orano? Let's go deeper. He wants to do all this in order to create more added value and more local jobs. Emmanuel Macron wants to create jobs here in Africa, while there are many French people who are unemployed. For all those who have been following me here for a very long time, I've always taken the time to break things down for you one by one, every time there is a problem in France. What does Emmanuel Macron think? Our eyes are open. We are here to address African youth. No. Create jobs. Today, most of those who follow me here know that many Parisians are leaving the city of Paris. We did a show about this here. Yes or no? Many residents are leaving because of poverty. Most of those who follow me here know that in France, getting food for a daily meal students don't have it. There is an NGO that is forced to organize something where students go to beg for rice to eat, for food. We Africans, we know this. What jobs does he want to create for us? What jobs? Let's go step by step. We're not going to speak emotionally. When he speaks, we give the argument that's needed. We know this. The one who couldn't do it in his own country is in ours that is going to do it. Let's go deeper. There's even worse coming. There's worse coming. Let's continue. You'll see. Secondly, the second part of his vision to restore Africa's sovereignty and so on, for him, is about supporting infrastructure and youth. He wants to support infrastructure and support the youth. So the discussions and announcements during the summit include increased support for strategic infrastructure, meaning the construction of strategic infrastructure. All right? Whether it's digital, energy, or essential transport infrastructure for economic growth. Emmanuel Macron wants to support us in building our digital and energy infrastructure. And whether it's in the area of transport or in any case, essential infrastructure for our development. But for how many years has France been here with us, Africans? What has France done? I want a number of shares like we've never had before. All our friends in Africa need to see this video conference, please. Let everyone give their opinion. And in all our cities, let's start organizing ourselves to respond to Emmanuel Macron. It's no longer just about letting our heads of state respond. Let's organize press conferences. Let's respond in our own way. This is nonsense. Let's say, no, we don't want this. And the heads of state who are involved in this approach, we will name them. We will tell them, we are not part of this. From now on, we want to develop ourselves on our own. France has shown its limits. Calm down. Let's go deeper. I'm telling you, West is coming. Let's go. What is Emmanuel Macron saying? He says there is another major focus. It's investment in human capital. He wants to invest in human capital, particularly through the education and vocational training of young people. He wants to take charge of the training of our children. He goes on. He says, the goal is to ensure that growth benefits the entire population. The goal is to ensure that growth benefits the entire population. But since when has he ever wanted or liked for the growth of our countries to benefit our people? Since he's been present in how many African countries? Have these countries developed? The answer is no, ladies and gentlemen. These countries have not developed. They do not think about the economic growth of the people. He has no desire whatsoever. Let's continue. Let's go deeper. Nice and easy. Thank you for watching this video conference all the way to the end. What is he saying? He says, the goal is to ensure that growth benefits the entire population and to fight against youth unemployment, which is a source of instability. Maranatha. Is unemployment really the source of instability in Africa? No, it's the breeding grounds that they themselves create. Unemployment is one of the ills that plague our continent. But who is really at the root of it? It's them who have plundered us. That's why today, most young Africans are heading towards the Mediterranean. They're scattered everywhere, like in Ouagadougou. Whether it's in Paris or in Washington, Africans are everywhere. They would rather go into the desert and meet their eternal rest there on the way to those places than stay in their own country. What is Emmanuel Macron trying to tell us? Let's dig deeper. Let's go. The part where you'll be disappointed is the second part of his speech. He says he wants to stay focused on the blue economy and financing mechanisms. The blue economy. That's what he's counting on to help us. So, in this second part, what is he relying on? Since it was the summit on the ocean, and they've already squandered all the resources from their own ocean. There are no more fish in their ocean. There aren't any. They are forced to come and look for them in our waters. There aren't any. They got rich off of that. They took their fish, they sold them. They don't have much left. He says this. He says that Macron emphasized the importance of protecting marine ecosystems while sustainably exploiting ocean resources. He says to protect, he wants to protect marine ecosystems in Africa, meaning our oceans, the countries that have oceans. He wants to protect them. That's it, right? While sustainably exploiting them. This is the second time I've used the word sustainably. When Gabon challenged the agreement signed between Gabon and the European Union at this conference, I told you here to remember the word sustainable. It is a sustainable agreement, which implies sustainable exploitation. He himself says by sustainably exploiting ocean resources. That means when you sign an agreement with him, it must be exploited sustainably. And he mentions fishing, aquaculture, coastal tourism, marine renewable energy, and maritime transport. He goes on to say, the idea is to develop sectors that create wealth and jobs while ensuring the preservation of resources for future generations. The key word in that sentence is a big lie. Where you will be disappointed. I don't want to take up too much of your time. There's just one last part left. Yes, but I ask for your forgiveness. Share this video conference. Make sure all our friends in Africa can receive it. He says this. The financing mechanism, how is he going to fund it? That's where even Emmanuel Macron goes, How is he going to fund all of this? He speaks on behalf of France, but how is he going to finance it? Listen very carefully. Watch very closely. He says this, to make this commitment a reality, France, in collaboration with financial institutions, France, in collaboration with financial institutions like the World Bank, the IMF, and other European partners, is seeking to mobilize innovative financing. First of all, that means France itself doesn't have these funds. And all of us Africans already know that. I'm not talking about those who aren't awake, who aren't on social media, those who don't follow the Samouraï. But we already know that France has nothing. Why? Why was the presidential government dissolved? And even their 2025 budget, when it came to passing it, there were problems. Why are there even problems with passing the 2026 budget? Why are there currently so many protests in France? They are cutting the budgets of universities, of local governments or local authorities, I should say. There is no money. So they want to collaborate with the IMF, the World Bank, to finance our activities. But pay close attention. Eli, this includes loans, guarantees, investment funds. So that includes loans. He wants to go take out loans from the World Bank to come and develop our continent at Maranatha. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, are we going to keep sleeping? No, let's open our eyes. He is going to take out loans from the World Bank, as if we, African states, were not worthy enough to take out loans ourselves. But today, we have understood that African states can take out loans from the World Bank. How? Wasn't it the World Bank that recently came to plead with Mali? They say that since they have seen that Mali is experiencing economic growth, they want to finance Mali. Mali refused them. They asked for forgiveness. We don't even know what level we are at up to now. With the World Bank, as soon as you meet the criteria, you apply and they give it to you. You don't have to go through a state so that it speaks on your behalf and then they come and give us the money. That's not true. That era is over. The era when we didn't know. Today, we African intellectuals have studied what the World Bank really is. What is the World Bank system? How does it operate? We don't need the state to go and provide our guarantee. And then, how many years did the AES countries go on while the World Bank had left? Did the AES countries die? The answer is no. Africans, all of you politicians, members of civil society, now is the time to begin. We need to respond to him. We must respond to him just as we responded to General Langley, who spoke badly about President Ibrahimtraoré. We need to show him that we are now awake and give him an answer in an intellectual, rational, and fully responsible manner. So, this includes loans, guarantees, investment funds, and the encouragement of public-private partnerships. The discussions also focus on debt relief to free up budgetary room for maneuver. You see, he is going to convince these institutions so that our debts are reduced. In other words, there's nothing more to say. France can no longer deceive us. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been very long-winded in this video conference. Although it's not my habit, it was very important. I even wanted to go into greater depth, but that's enough. We'll stop here.